talked to Brennan at all? Have you guys kind of shared stories?
The first day I got back, I saw him and we immediately dapped it up and hugged each other because I hosted him on his official visit, summer of 2021, in Austin, Texas, and so obviously I left shortly after that. But just to reconnect and come here and to see him, it was very good to just chop it up with him and to talk about his experience and what it means for him to be here and why he came here and the same reasons while I'm here he wants to be around. Like I said, wants to be around a good coach with a good team, a good culture, and a good locker room. And he's loved it so far, and he has nothing but positive things to say. And it was just good for us to be able to talk about our experiences. And we sit down and we eat lunch and breakfast together, and we have meals, and we talk. We kind of just talk about things that we've learned. And I think perspective is everything, and just being able to learn from everything that you go through is important. And he's definitely done that, and I've done that as well. But I know there's not a lot of people who do that, where they're going from OU to Texas or Texas to OU. But just hearing his story and talking to him, we definitely share that in common as well. But it's just crazy because the last time I saw him, I was hosting him on a visit, and being able to come here and just be with him is a pretty cool deal. And his locker is like right by mine in the locker room, so we just talk all the time about different things.
Have you let your mind kind of wander to that game in October and what that'll be like, kind of being having been in it before, but now flipping to the other sideline, I guess, or the other end of the bowl, I guess?
Well, I mean, the Red River Rivalry is iconic. I argue with people around the country like that's the biggest rivalry in college football. But but until you said that, I haven't been thinking about it too much. But just some of the guys that I talk to here, whether they're freshmen or transfers, and they just say, like, what's that game like? And I just tell them, like, it's just, there's no words that can describe it. I get goosebumps talking about it. I've, growing up going to that game as a kid and at the Cotton Bowl and, the State Fair, of Texas. And I know what that means. I know what that week is about. I know what I-35 is going to look like. I know what the commercials and the radio stations are going to be like. And I know what Dallas, Texas is going to be like, going downtown and seeing all the hotels, decked out in signs and stuff. So that's going to be a very, that's going to be a great experience to be, back at that game. I just can't wait for the crowd and the environment. And the only time I think about it is if they show highlights, like on TV, of the game from last year or rewatch film or something. But I've had my best, some of my best moments as a football fan and a football player in that stadium, and so I'm excited to be back, as in that game as a player.
Speaking of that game, Xavier Worthy had one of the bigger moments during that game, but he also had one of the bigger moments, if not the biggest moment, of the NFL Combine just last week. How unshocked were you to see him run a 4.21?
Man, a 4.21 is crazy to even say. Like, that's just.
You got to see it every day.
Yeah, I mean, I saw it every day, and people here have asked me like, what makes him special, and you have to give credit when credit is due. But I just remember he came in as a freshman in June, and the first day of fall camp he was starting with the ones, and I mean that's hard to do at any position. But I remember watching him run as a freshman and thinking like, man, he runs like a gazelle, like he just trots and. It doesn't like he's putting much effort in. Even when he ran that 40 the other day, like his face was just like still. He just ran a 4.21. It's crazy. But I actually on Saturday was getting ready to go to the OU men's basketball game versus Houston, and so I didn't get to watch it live. But my mom and dad sent me a text and called me about it. But I'm very happy for him, obviously. But yeah, just seeing him every day was different. There's a lot of people that I've been around. On different teams and camps, I'll never forget the guys that I see that are like, you see them and you're like, okay, that dude is different, and Xavier Worthy, Bijan Robinson, going to camps with guys like Jerry Jeudy and Jalen Waddle, and just seeing some of those guys in person, Jamar Chase at camps I've been to, and you look up whatever 6 months, 12 months, a few years later, and they're first, second round picks, and they're Pro Bowlers, and they're getting all these endorsement deals, and so he's one of those guys for sure. And we have a lot of those guys in our locker room as well. I know we have some freak athletes, and we have really good linemen here, and we have a lot of talented receivers. And so, I just love being around talent and guys who are kind of cut from the same cloth.
What is Brennan Thompson in comparison? You've seen, both of them up close now.
Yeah, a lot of people always ask me, like who are the fastest receivers and, who would win in a race between, A and B. People used to ask me in Nebraska, and my dad used to ask me, who's the fastest receiver you've thrown to? And I was like, I can't tell if it's Xavier or if it's Trey Palmer. Trey Palmer obviously ran the fastest time last year with the 4.33 at the NFL Combine. I still think he can run a 4.2, and then Xavier obviously ran a 4.21. Being here, a lot of people talk about how fast Brennan is. I've got to watch him at workouts, but I haven't obviously seen him practice and play in a live game. But just watching him on film, the dude can fly. I mean, every time you see him, he's either outrunning the ball or he's catching it and running past the defense. So I'm excited to be around him and watch him live and just see how fast he really is. But I have no doubt in my mind that he'll run a fast time as well. And hopefully when it's his time to run the 40 at Pro Day and Combine, he's in the 4.2s.
Casey, even with all your experience, this is even your first year in the SEC. Have you thought about what that means to you, the new competition?
Yeah. Really, I thought about it this past offseason, but I've always wondered what it would be like for OU to be in the SEC, kind of how you guys probably all think the same thing. What's it going to be like? What's year one? What's that going to look like as far as this next coming decade, a few years? But it's just, football is football. When I watch the film and I watch SEC teams play, the top dogs in the country are always good. That's Alabama, Georgia, LSU, and then as far as the rest of the conference, every game is you can win or lose, any given Saturday. And so I think it's important for us to just focus and control the things that we can control, be the best team that we can be. A lot of people talk about the SEC, whether that's in the media, in the community. Like I said, I think at the end of the day, football is football, and it's just important for us to focus on the things that we need to do here in Oklahoma to be the best that we can be. But college football is crazy. Some teams, in certain years might have a run, and then they might not have a run for a few more years, and then some teams stay dominant. So I think it's important, just as a OU player sitting here and as a football fan, I want OU football to always be, a top 10 team and to be one of the best teams in the SEC and the best teams in the country. And I think it's good for college football in general, and I'm very excited. When I think about the SEC, I think about going into, whether it's College Station or going to Auburn, Alabama, or going to play in Tuscaloosa, or even hosting Alabama like we get to do. I think that those will be very, very big-time games, and they'll just be great as a football player and as a football fan.
What would it mean for you to, obviously, growing up around Oklahoma, you talked about all the memorabilia inside the room in your house. What would it mean for you to be a part of a team that was part of that 12-team playoff, just the 1 year that you're at Oklahoma?
Yeah, I'm glad you reminded me about that. But it gives all college football teams hope that there's a 12-team playoff. And you brought up a good point. They're going to take the conference champions, and they're going to put in the other 7 best teams in the country. So OU for decades has finished as a top 10 team in the country. So in our mind, if we can finish as one of the top teams in the country, then we'll go into the playoff, and that'll be great. I know there's been different playoff runs here, and we've made it to the first round, but it'll be a very good experience if we're able to do that again. And the end goal is still in mind. We want to go to the playoffs. We want to win a championship, and that's obviously the long-term goal. But in the short term, Coach V always talks about having process-based goals. And that's winning one day at a time and trying to be the best, man, the best player, best coach, best teammate, best staff member that we can be here right now in this moment. And so he talks about can't look at the past. The past is the past, and the future is not here yet. Just be in this moment and win one day at a time. And so that's what we're focused on right now.
Isn't this surreal? Just being back here, taking that winding road,
it is.
All the way ending up.
It's almost like it feels like I'm living in a movie, because sometimes I drive around and I walk around the stadium, and I grew up here as a kid, right? And I've been gone, and I'm able to blessed enough to come back and be here. But yeah, it's just crazy. Sometimes I'm just I look at the date on the calendar and I'm like, it's 2024.
Yeah.
I'm sitting here looking at Gaylord Memorial Stadium, or I'm driving down Lindsay Street, where I've grown up, driving through my whole life. And I'm just really blessed and fortunate to have this opportunity to be a part of this team. And yeah, sometimes it feels surreal for sure. Like I said, I've had dreams my whole life, literal dreams, and waking up and thinking that felt, real. Just being in the stadium, being on this team, and so just to be able to live this moment out is very important and a big deal.
What do you see your role as next year? Being the veteran
This
guy,
season?
yeah, like coming into a quarterback room that is obviously very, very young,
Yeah.
even Jackson. How do you see that role, and just what do you envision as a successful season? Obviously, you want to compete and you want to play.
Well, I mean, the biggest thing is like I said, the games and the starts and the experience I have, it speaks for itself as far as I have a lot of college starts. I've had a lot of college game experience. Oldest guy in the room, obviously. Sure. But when I come into this room, I want to be a great teammate. I want to be able to help these guys. I want them to be able to help me. I want to be a good friend to Jackson, to General, to Mike, to Zerb. So really just trying to be there for each other and to be a great teammate. I think it's important because quarterbacks, there's a special bond about a quarterback room of just being able to push each other and help each other and not be jealous or envious of each other when you go out there and play. And so when I'm rehabbing and I'm trying to get healthy and I'm watching film, I don't know what my role is going to be yet for the fall. And I don't, like I said, the staff has never even seen me take a snap here at practice. And so I try not to get too far ahead of myself. But like I said, I believe, my family believes, Coach Venable believes. I've heard it said that, when I'm healthy and I'm able to be on the field, I can play the game at a high level. Coach Jones made a comment a few weeks ago, the receivers coach, and I've seen him a couple of times throughout the building, and he was like, man, I watched some highlights of you the other day, or I saw some of your film, and he was like, I have a lot of respect for you. Like, I view you a little differently. And I was like, why you say that, Coach? And he was like, you can play ball. And I was like, I appreciate it, Coach. I was like, I know I can play the game at a high level. I just have some unfortunate injuries. Sure. And like I said, I just try to be humble about it. I try not to walk around talking about, the experiences I've had unless somebody asks me. Jackson obviously knows that I've played a lot of ball, and everyone on the team knows. So honestly, I try to take one day at a time and focus on our workouts and our meetings and just soaking everything in as a sponge. It's crazy because there's a lot of plays that like we run, and I've ran at different places where like I know the concepts and it's just literally just a new name. Sure. And so I just gotta flip my brain. But I'm learning a lot from the other guys in the room. They've been here, they've been in this system, and they know how things work here at OU under Coach Venable. So like I said, I'm just trying to be a help in any way that I can and be the best that I can be.
Sure. Casey, I asked this half joking, but playing at Nebraska, playing at Texas, was there any thought to of Oklahoma State to complete that trio of big OU rivals?
Yeah, I never, like I said, it literally just happens the way it happened. Everything happens for a reason, but the fact that like, I don't know if it'll ever happen again if somebody be able to do that, but the fact that like you go to one place and the door is open for another opportunity, and then the door is open for another opportunity. It almost never happens. Mm-hmm. Whether it's in playing, coaching, and so I never thought about it. Like I just literally take one year at a time, and how I'm talking about, I'm just focused on workouts. And this year, during the year, I always try to just focus on the team and get myself to be as competitive, as healthy, and as productive as possible on and off the field. And then after the season, you look back and you reflect and you say, okay, what could I have done differently? What could I have done better? And then as you prepare for the next year, as we all probably do in life, it's like, where do I want to be at? What do I want to be doing, and who do I want to be doing it with? And like I said, this past off season, it was a no-brainer for me. I knew that I was prepared to come down here and meet if I could. So I picked up the phone and I called Coach, and he said, let me think about it. And then they called me back and they said, let's do it. So it's kind of how it went down.